Because this is very closely based on FreeBSD, you would have a hard time in trying to differentiate what you're actually loading up, as the splash screen and the loading screen is exactly the same as FreeBSD. Right, we're on the desktop of FuryBSD, and it looks pretty much like it did in the 12.0 review that I did. You got the same icons. You got, well, there's minus the Wi-Fi configuration, but they're practically the same. You got configure xorg, getting started text file, install, and system information, alongside home, file system, and trash cans. I'm not going to go into the detail of what each one of these additional icons on the desktop do, but what I will do is I'll go straight into the FuryBSD install. If you want to see what these icons are, then have a look at my previous video of 12.0 and it'll give you a good indication of what they do. So clicking on the install FuryBSD icon will bring up a nice cursors style menu system for installation, and the default file system is ZFS. We go down to configure the drive. We've got a single drive on this test machine, so I'm just going to use Stripe one disk. The rest I can leave pretty much default. Well, if you want to encrypt your swap or file system, you can here. We'll just click on install and yes. And we will let it do its magic. There we go. We're just going to skip to the end of the install. There we go. And it will ask you for a root password. And if you're used to FreeBSD install, then you will recognize this part. I retype it. And it's reminding you to add at least one user to the wheel, so you can use SU. Username, RoboNuggie. Full name, RoboNuggie. But with capitals though. Login group, and this is where we enter wheel. You could put operator as well, but we'll just keep it to wheel. I'm going to go default with the rest and enter the user password. And again, lock out the creation. No, is everything's okay? Yes. Add another user. No, we're all right for the moment. And I'll press no here to set the time. Go down to Europe. And all the way down to the United Kingdom, which should be at the bottom or near the bottom. There we go. Press OK. Skip for this, skip for that, because the time is right. And that's it. Anyway, we'll have a look around the desktop. It was a clean install. You don't really get much out of the box, as they say. You get the usual KDE tools. And just to see what the system we're running on, we'll have a look. It's FuryBSD 12.1 is running on FreeBSD 12.1. So it does mirror it. And we're using 340 megabytes at the moment. It is running ZFS, so there's a little bit of overhead on that, but it's not too bad. And even though it's running XFCE, that's to be expected, really. There's the file system. Because we're using ZFS, it's laid out in the classic style. Right, we're just going to do a install and run a Linus test. I like to do this every time I do an operating system. I know it's not the most accurate of security measurement or system lockdown ability, but I like to use it as a constant benchmark on all the systems. I think on the default FreeBSD you get roughly about 56. We'll see what this one brings up. So we'll just install it. And we'll just run it now. So Linus audit system. And we'll just let it do its thing. So we're running the latest version. Right. So we'll look. Oh, 57. Well, you know, that's about on par, really, what I expected. Not too bad. There's plenty of room there for improvement. Very good. Okay. Right. Well, I'll have a look around on the desktop. You got the menu. You got your virtual desktops. This is all pretty standard stuff. You get file there. You get network. You get your sound. Notification. And date and calendar. Time and calendar. You got your trash can. Your file system. Which just takes you to the root of it all, really. And your home folder, of course. You get right-click and you get this nice little menu that pops up. And pretty much everything you can do with the system is accessible here. You get your application menu, you can your terminal emulator and all sorts. I find it pretty handy. I mean, I'm used to the a window manager type of menu anyway, so this is not, to me, it's not foreign. 4.14 XFCE. And for those who care, there's, I don't know, it's a fairly decent selection of wallpapers. A little bit slow loading, but we'll get there eventually. A nice variety, I think. There's natural ones, abstract ones, and yeah, pretty cool. I like the default one, so I'm going to keep it at that, I think. Yeah. And you can change the menu, change the icons, and alter the colors, and all the usual things. Talking about menus, it's an interesting thing where web browser will just point to Firefox. Let's have a look at what's all available. I'm not going to list them all out because there's too many, but a lot of them are the default tools with KDE. Of course, Firefox has been added. Accessories, etc. Internet. So yeah, it's not so bad. There's quite a few things missing on a usable system, and I'll show you them in a bit. There's Firefox. It's a little bit slow, but there we go. And we'll have a look at the world's best YouTube channel, as we always do, just to test the video playback. Well, the previous FuryBSD there. Check that one out for its more in depth than this particular video, but it still pertains to it because it's only 1 point release difference. So yes, very good. Pop-ups, there you go. Not too bad. It's fairly speedy for an old system, and it's running quite well. There you go. One interesting thing, it says mail reader, but there is actually no mail reader assigned to it. So yeah, maybe that needs to be looked at perhaps. It's easy to do yourself, but if this was being used by a new user, then it may cause some complications and some confusion. In fact, there's no mail reader available in the internet section, so that's a little bit of strangeness. Sometimes it's just the little things which can make the difference. One thing I also noticed was there wasn't any Office applications installed. In fact, there wasn't even a section called Office. And at least, I think, in every operating system that comes pre-packaged, I mean, I'm talking about FreeBSD itself, but if it comes pre-packaged, then you need at least a word processor or an Office suite. No, I was going to install OpenOffice. I'll put LibreOffice, because without that, you're not going to get much done, and I think one should be included by default. I prefer OpenOffice, but I understand the momentum towards LibreOffice is more widespread amongst the Linux community. I'll just fast forward this. It doesn't take that long, but just for sake of brevity. Now, if we have a look, there's the new Office section, and there's LibreOffice all installed. You know, for an old machine, this loads up quite quick, which is not so bad. There we go. And just unclick that, and OK. And there we are, LibreOffice. Just the random gibberish. And we'll have a look at the version number. Yeah, 6.3.4.2.0 plus. Not too bad. If you found this video useful, then please consider giving it a thumbs up. And if you found more than one video useful, then please consider subscribing. And if you do subscribe, then hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any new videos. I do all the videos myself on this channel. I use FreeBSD and the tools associated to do it. I don't use AI. It's all me, with me, just my passion and my interest in FreeBSD. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.